Hiya, welcome to this concert at the Barbican. I'm really kind of overwhelmed. I just got on the train, just got here. It's Saturday when I'm recording this. It's Sunday now when you're watching it. But yeah, just got off the train, which was very exciting in and of itself. And now to be surrounded by people is kind of nuts, but I'm so pleased to be here. It's been maybe, I'm nearly 40 now, and I've been playing since I was 16 and have had a gig at least every month, I guess. So suddenly you don't have those landmarks. It's kind of wild. So I guess I just wanted to say thank you for attending online, and also to express solidarity with you. I know a lot of people are struggling, and it's very understandable, and I hope that this can be something positive. Of course, could turn out to be a terrible show. We'll see. Good luck, all the best, and thanks for listening. Lots of love. Bye.
Hiya. How do you do this again? So thank God I can't actually see you very well. That's good, because I've been feeling like unnaturally nervous about this show. Like never have had a gap of not playing before since I was like 16. So I think that maybe this will be really rusty for a good 45 minutes, then it'll get good, and then I'll get tired. So we'll have a kind of zenith of about 5 minutes of really good stuff. So we've got that to look forward to. Thank you very much for coming out tonight. It's really nice and overwhelming. Thank you. Thank you, and thank you to people who are watching at home. Lots of love. All right, I figured that we shouldn't go with the, I should just say, set hasn't started yet. We're going to watch, it's like we're watching a DVD of The Talented Mr. Ripley, but we're going to do the extras first. And when we actually get to watch the film, we're blatantly not going to watch the whole thing. We're just going to watch the bits with Philip Seymour Hoffman in, because that's a good, Kate Blanchett maybe as well. So this is DVD extras now, and I'll let you know when we begin. Okay, this is a song about a young person who has committed a petty crime in the 15th century, and they have to go into Hexham jail. So a nice cheery start to the evening. Honestly, it's so overwhelming to see you. I just, what a year, eh? I hope you're doing okay. Lots of love. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay. A neighbor accused me of larceny. My poor dad to the jail delivered me. All this over a hen and her eggs. I wish I'd never mislaid them. He walks me as far as the guard post. It's the first time he's ever hugged me. Be a man and just keep your head down. You've got to let go of me now. I was placed in chains. My legs gave out. My legs gave out. The jailer picked me up. He slapped my face and helped me walk the stair. When first I went in the dungeon, I was surrounded by silhouettes. My nostrils met with the most ungodly stink. I fainted at the sheer taste of it. I came around to discover my feet were unshod and my scarf bestole. An old crone hissed through a gum full of pus. That's garnish, lad, and pay you must. I curled into a ball to hide my tears, to hide my tears, then began to shake before I realized I'd lost control. From all around there rung laughter. The calf was lamed and the wolves were circling. At first bite I leapt from the floor and cracked a shadow in the jaw. There rose a voice from the gloomy depths. Silence your wagging and give the lad a rest. Mark these words, keep your devils locked within, for I'll castrate the one that goes to him. I was left alone to find my own few inches of damp stone. Gave myself to sleep, and when I awoke, the world was still rolling away. In cold light of day, I surveyed the scene, a squalor more baleful than I had ever seen. Ageless bone bags agog in their own mess, bodies maggot-riddled at caress. My unofficial protector showed me the rudiments of gambling with pebbles and taught me the names of the birds, trees, and flowers, and shared his warmth through evil hour. I remember you, whoever you are, whoever you are. I'll hold you in my heart and never forget the part you played in my story. This morning they took me to the pillory. Who should appear but the very same neighbor accused me. She climbs the stage and lifts a jug of water to my lips. then walks me back home to my father. That's the end of that one. Cheers. Thank you very much. I'm not a very polished performer, as you might have gathered. Well, it would be horrible if I was, though, wouldn't it? It would be rubbish. I feel a bit, oh, I've got that wrong. I feel a bit self-conscious because I know I've got all of Sally's family back home watching and all of my family and friends and stuff, and like my pal Jake, what he's going to take the mick out of when I see him next. That kind of thing. All right. So, DVD starts now. Open your eyes, time to wake up. Shit shower, brush your teeth, drain your cup. Wolf down a bowl of ready bread. Fasten a tie around your neck. All over the city we arise, arise. For a job we despise, despise, despise. Disability living allowance will be stopping shortly. Busfuls of meat, slumped in our seats, staring at phone screens and our own feet, shuffling off at the business park. Let's linger a while in the smoking bubble. From every direction we arrive, arrive. With a swipe of the fork, the fork, the fork, the fork. The bleeding of the tenderly staff room, lost in a daze, shoveling crisps into my face. After an unspeakably awful call with a grieving mother, in Weatherspoons on the fruit machines, sinking my umpteenth Peroni, cackling like a hyena at the nasty jokes of my college, none of whom I can stand. In my bed I can hear the strangled voices of all the people I failed. I don't wanna go into work this morning. I just wanna lie here and play The Last of Us Part 2. I finally gathered the courage to run and say I'm not coming into work today. I'm really not coming into work today. Or for that matter, any other day. I'm sick to my soul. I refuse to do this dirty work anymore. I Yeah. Thank you. I'm glad I got the first sort of nervous bit out the way. I can relax now and play the songs. That's why I did always start like a damp squib and end like a damp squib, and then try and get somewhere good in the middle. Otherwise, you're putting too much pressure on yourself. I was really honoured that the Unthanks covered this next song. The Unthanks are amazing and beautiful singers and musicians, and they made a cover of this song, which was like, to me, when you hear Jimi Hendrix All Along the Watchtower, that's the definitive version. So this is like my Lego model of that. We picked apples in the graveyard, freshly mowed. The flight of flies peppered the sky. I could feel the sun between my legs as we pressed on through the labyrinth of the dead. Hold me, and never let me go. Hold me. The metal basin groaned under the weight the fruit we had earlier gathered, spiders drowning in a silver spiral. The next door neighbor's cat is a ribbon of smoke around my ankles. I am listening for your key in the door. Hold me, and never let me go. Hold me. Are you awake to the screech of a fox in the street, carrying your soul in its teeth through the snow? I invite the forest into my bed, which is a river. Hold me, and never let me go. Hold me, hold me, hold me, and never let me go. Hold me. Thank you. It's so nice to be playing a gig. I'm so honestly. It's a little overwhelming. I think I better save getting overwhelmed for later in the set, because that would make a sort of nice climax. If now it might be quite problematic to the functionality of the whole thing. Don't let me forget about my glasses. It's very, well, it's all new, this, and we're figuring out our way through it, but I'm finding the biggest sort of surprise I'm finding is I've never had a gig with such long hair before, and it's really good. It's going in my mouth and down my throat. So here's a song about football, and I could never have predicted that the mention of empty stadiums would actually come true, and means a different thing. So I'll sing this for my nephews, Matthew and George, who are watching. Can I go to this camera? Hello, Matthew and George. Yeah. And this is one is two halves. I've just remembered I've meant to be announcing the songs for the sake of the stream. I apologize for that. Two halves, everyone. To be a walk in the park, but these bastards from King's Priory are kicking lumps out of us. Man on, an empty stadium yells. Man on, come on, the cross goes sailing wildly over the hands. Slips, taking a free kick. It trickles over the mud straight to me. In desperation, he scrambles and slides. I leap the flailing leg and dink it over the sprawled body of the goal. The net is gaping, the next week's game? Shall we pick up a Chinese or would you rather fish and chips? Thank you. Is it too soon for a 12-minute a cappella song about a Quilt-Maker? I don't want to. Maybe it is. Yes, it is. This one's called The Queen's Head. It's about, well, I spent quite some time in Todmorden. I had some gigs there, Hebden Bridge in Yorkshire, and very amazing place, amazing people. And yeah, it's about flooding, and it's not really about flooding. Having received a phone call from our tearful nephew, whom we had left in charge. It's happened again, the pub's flooded again. Humber burst its banks this morning. We'd been over to see our man, who's in the later stages of dementia. She didn't understand that we had to go. The whole box of Maltesers got sent rolling all over the floor. How little we are, clung to the river's edge. Come hell or high water, how little we are. Park up by the derelict primary school, tie bags for life around our ankles, and wade across the playing field through the council estate to the market square. The whole town's come out to stand dumbly about, staring at the filthy water. The guy from the vape shop, ferrying his chocolate labs, waves to us cheerily from a leaky kayak. I've lost everything apart from what counts, pointing to his dogs and then at his heart. How little we are, clung to the river's edge. Come hell or high water, how little we are. There's a crowd gathered round the fat-headed butcher, who's back on his soapbox again, bemoaning the lack of adequate flood defences, somehow putting it down to an insurgency benefit scrounging immigrants, while handing out packs of sausages, black pudding, ham and haggises. Avoiding making eye contact, we hurry past the baying throng. Our beer garden lies in disarray, tangled chair legs and drowned umbrellas. Crossing the threshold, we are overwhelmed to find our neighbour whom we've never actually spoke to, working frantically to save our pub, lifting the tables clear and sweeping away the liquid mud. How little we are, clung to the river's edge, come hell or high water, how little we are. Cheers. Okay, now we can do the song about the Quilt-Maker. If any of this is like getting a bit grating, if you've been dragged along by your partner or whatever, or you're watching at home with a slight feeling of obligation, now would probably be a good time to go and make a cup of tea or have a poo, whatever it is you need to do. Sorry, that's crude. Change a cat's box, something like that. Lots of love to Sally at home. Hello, Sally. We've got a lovely cat called Trouble, who's sick all the time, but she once ate a whole packet of elastic bands. She's quite an amazing talent. Anyway, that leads me nicely into the song about the Quilt-Maker. Bit rusty. This was based on an article I read in. I found a scrapbook came across a scrapbook in the Discovery Museum archives where I was making the Glass Trunk album, and found this article and a song about a quilt-maker who had lived near Hexham, and this is the account of his later years. Weep not, but na lo la la, more. That lonely cottage on the mound, a century's growth of mossy shrouds, stood trembling and quiet until it was acquired by Canny Joe, the quilt-maker. He fenced in a patch of land as from the stroke of a magic wand, a garden sprang forth from the hand of Joe the Quilt-Maker. His cot secure, his flower beds neat, glad were his neighbours all to meet, and chew the fat, and to swallow the coffee of kindly Joe the Quilt-Maker. Of each he had some good to say, some kindly token to display, and seldom few people could cheer a winter's day like gregarious Joe the Quilt-Maker. Beloved by all, even the great forgot the lowness of his state, and at their dinner table sometimes they set a plate for respected Joe the Quilt-Maker. His quilts with country fame were crowned, superbly sewed and dotted around with funny little figures and cuddy ducks in flight. Most ingenious Joe the Quilt-Maker. His wife was sick, bedridden and old. To ease her pain, he spent, he sold. Oh, there was never bought, not for silver or for gold, such love as Joe the Quilt-Maker's. From dawn till dusk he tenderly nursed the poor old hag, grew worse and worse, and soon she was lifted to a hearse by heartbroken Joe the Quilt-Maker. Now lost in widowhood's embrace, all hope had flown without a trace. The home they'd made soon became a cage for enfeebled Joe the Quilt-Maker. But there were friends who cheered his days, both coin and food they strove to raise, and there was always some kind soul dropping in to say afternoon to Joe the Quilt-Maker. The days and months and years rolled by, the scales were lifted from his eyes, the ground beneath his feet and the color in his cheeks were restored to Joe the Quilt-Maker. Not seeing past the end of his nose, back to the needle he nimbly goed. In several of the taverns we raised a cup of ale to courageous Joe the Quilt-Maker. Often in his solitary nook, through spectacles ungodly book, a mirror made of paper would stare at the reflection of pious Joe the Quilt-Maker. And thus the autumn his days in quiet contemplation played, except when he would welcome a wandering stray. Most hospitable Joe the Quilt-Maker, from which dark source it cannot be said, somehow the bogus rumor spread that never in Hexham there'd been a richer man than impoverished Joe the Quilt-Maker. Strolling round the market square, a smiling pilgrim unaware, the devil's in the doorway of the old moot hall, with his eyes fixed on the doomed Quilt-Maker. I found a pair of clogs in the lane, some drops of blood where they had lain, and following the breadcrumbs I came upon the dreadful remains of Joe the Quilt-Maker. It must have been a number of days, the fat black flies were on his face. I fainted in a flower bed and threw up on the bright yellow poppies of Joe the Quilt-Maker. Judging from the wounds on his hands, it's fair to assume a most valiant stand was met by his assailants and fought down to the very last breath of Joe the Quilt-Maker. It's thought they numbered 2 or 3. The evidence was plain to see, a bowed and bloody coal rake and a garden hoe sticky with the grey hair of Joe the Quilt-Maker. Despite 100 guinea reward, the culprits have remained uncaught, and nobody is looking each other in the eye at the funeral of Joe the Quilt-Maker. And now that night is drawing in, I pull the quilts up to my chin and listen to the trees outside creaking in the wind, a song for Joe the Quilt-Maker. Thank you. This is the guitar that's got sort of stood on and crushed a few times. I keep fixing it. And I can't seem to write a song on a different guitar, just this one. And this one is, the song is called Fresher's Ball, and it's about parent dropping off their kid at university. In tune enough? All right. Or should we have an instrumental? Because that was a lot of singing. I'm all right, but I'm just worried about your minds. Let's have an instrumental. Yeah. I'll do it after. I'm really out of shape. Lockdown. Like, lockdown's a good excuse now. Like I was going to be really fit otherwise. Turning 40 next year, so I think that might be a good time to try and turn things around. But like, I don't know, like, I feel, I don't want to make this about me, but it seems like, I know that's ridiculous, but like, excuse me, I feel like getting older, you get more confident in some ways, but you also, all of the performance or bravado drops away. Hopefully, I guess that's a good thing, but getting like more and more, getting more socially anxious. Just, so why am I telling you this? Just because I think that we're all put on fronts sometimes of being more comfortable than we are actually when we're struggling, and just that now especially we shouldn't do that, so that's why I'm telling you. I don't want to put on the front of being like comfortable or anything like that. No punchline there. Thank you. I'm not sure that warranted a clap, but I appreciate it. Good sentiment, certainly. Okay, here's Fresh as Ball. I drove Bobby down to university with the rover bursting at the seams. We brunched in the halls of res canteens. Then I got on my way, waving me goodbye from the steps of her building. She shrinks into the shudders of the review. Tears begin to fall on the outskirts of Leeds. I am missing her already. I stopped for a coffee at Scotch Corner and called to see if she was doing okay. She gently laughed at my foolishness. Don't worry. Watching Match of the Day that night, I was bereft. The house seemed to hold its breath. I went out to smoke in the garden. There was a hedgehog happy, watching it make its way into the rhubarb through the dewy blaze. I must have drifted off with the opening credits of the fog and had the most disturbing dream. We were running through the maze away from the drooling Minotaur. Dawn arrives, rosy on the Roman blind, just before the monster can devour us. I quickly grab a shower and head the five-a-side. Cheers. How am I looking for time? Ooh. It's either got to be Dead Dog in an Alleyway or Weaver. Any preference? So the last album wasn't as good as the one before. I'm pretty offended right now. It's another song about the production of fabric. Thrice boiled with a bloodstone, then let it breathe under the beams while I prepare the lichen. Half a fist of wizard beard and rock tribe yields a dye enough the whole town to paint. Lavender's an echo of the bees' wing, dazzling foxgloves a shake in the salty wind. It looks like a thundercloud suspended from the gables high above the bobbing heads, which now and then look up to see what's dripping on them. So we begin feeding it in, combing through the fibers, gently searching for a yard of spoon. nasty tumble down the crumbled steps of the Merchants Guild, precipitating the early onset of labor. There is a crab caught in a hair, stretchering through the market. Fearful are the bellows to behold, even with the spindle firmly clenched between her teeth. With a snap the baby's head emerges onto the sodden eider-down bed pages. Even though the newborn child is not my kin and still lies dangling by a string, I ken the rising mystery of love, my very ancient friend. Cheers. Thank you. I thought I'd do a cover of this lovely Tom Waits song called Fishing Bird, which is such a beautiful song, and it's buried right at the end of the Alice album. And here it is. It's like a fax of his version. They bored around for the sailor, and they heard his tale of a world that was so far away, a tune that they'd never heard, a song of a little bird who fell in love with a whale. He said, "You cannot live in the ocean." And she said to him, "You never can live in the sky." And the ocean is filled with tears, and the sea turns into a mirror that There's a whale in the moon when it's clear, and a bird on the tide. Oh, please don't cry. Let me dry your eyes and tell me that you will wait for me. Hold me in your arms. I promise we never will part. I'll never sail back to the time. I'll always pretend that you're mine. Oh, I know that we both must part. You can live in my heart. Cheers. Thank you. All right. I've got to wind it up now, and it's raced by, and I feel I'm so bowled over to see you, and I know that you meant to play it cool. I know I got zero cool. Let's. I think that's a good thing. We should aim to have zero cool in life. That's my advice. Don't take my advice. Yeah, that is it. Just thank you very much to the Barbican, an amazing team here. Please keep supporting them if you can, and support local venues as well, because it's it's a state in it. So try and stay positive and generous, and yeah, it's so hard not to get dragged into this competitive. There's some nastiness in the air at the minute, but this rum is just lovely, and let's take this, and it can be an epicenter of a love explosion. Didn't come out right, no. Oh dear. Said love explosion at the Barbican. Oh, that's funny. And now for some X-rated videos. Yeah, that really would be a climax to the show. All right, thank you. Last one. Lots of love. Riding through Yorkshire, we come upon the ghost of a tree at Buttertub's Pass, golden and green, flapping its leaves, though it is winter and there is no breeze. 7 little sparrows, pale as soldiers, hopping in amongst the curling boughs. Then comes a shout from one of our party, old Albert Bousfield's fallen down a hole. Hope upon hope, fastened to a rope, not able to ascertain how deep it goes. Albert, can you hear me make a sound? If you can't make a sound, then clap 2 stones. Leaving behind our friend in the lime pit, we hurry on in quiet dread into the fog, smothering the dales. The raindrops are falling like the bars of a jail.
buried in the arsehole of the world. A row of burnt out huts, we made our beds. Lying awake, looking up through the black wooden beams, I can see the Milky Way. Comes there a scream out of the sky, a great ball of fire goes hurtling by. Everyone's awake now, what the hell is happening today? It's all so queer. Rising at dawn to find Thomas Knox has not from his sleep been summoned forth. Face like a mask, fixed in a gasp, we wrap him in blankets and we cover him with grass. Onward with our journey through Towlow and over Headley Hill past Hanging Stone. Called on an end to fill our bellies with dark bloody meat and sour black beer. There we were warned never to stray far from the road through Kyo Bog. Several of the children from the village disappeared last month without a trace. 3 hours later, we go in single file through a maze of moaning soil, reeking of dung, droning of flies. The moss on the trees glows as we pass by. There is something awful alive in this place. We are most relieved to leave behind. The moon is a peach in the brown fields of Kibblesworth. It won't be long till we get home. Cramp in our guts, bile in our throats, mischief undulating through our bones. Suddenly the city lights surround us, disappearing up into the clouds. 7 little sparrows, pale as soldiers, hopping in amongst the curling boughs.
Cheers. Thank you. A gig! We had a gig. It's finished now. Yes, I'm sad to say. So, see what I mean about damp squib?
Coming into work today.